Peace, family. How you doing? This is Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency podcast, your definite morning pop choice. And today is Wednesday, April the 27th, and we are alive and well for those who have the ability to hear me and those who are watching me. I know for those who are watching me right now on Facebook and those who are watching me on YouTube, or those who are listening on one of the PDUs, the podcast distribution units. I appreciate you always in a day. Um, so I know in the beginning we were talking about being persistent, and I kind of wanted to I changed it up just a little bit. I changed it up a little bit only because peace, good morning. I changed it up a little bit because as I was beginning to learn and to develop this conversation that we're going to have today, um, I started to notice something about the word persistence. And it was kind of like when I was studying the word assume and the conversation we were having about the right side of assume. I also learned that there are two sides of persistence, and I'm going to teach you about that. But before we jump into the lesson plan, go ahead and make sure you share this live, put it in the live Facebook group. Don't just hear me say it, but actually action it, because we're going to be touching so many different lives today just by knowing and understanding that there are two sides of persistence. And it kind of caught me off guard knowing that there are two sides of persistence. Um, did you know that there were two sides of persistence? Yeah, me neither. All right, so here we go. Again, if there are things that resonate with you, just go ahead and put it inside the chat, because being that it resonates with you, someone else may see it and they may be able to understand based off of what you say. Not that they won't understand what I'm saying, but they may understand it better from what you say, and they will be learning it from a different perspective, because it's always about not just the lessons that are learned, but what lessons can you actually teach. Because when you learn something, it becomes teachable only by what you understand and what you comprehend. So, yeah, let's go ahead and start this out. All right, so the right side of persistence. Again, we switched it up a little bit, only because I began to learn something. And because I learned it, I want to make sure y'all know it too. So, yeah. All right. Make sure you share this. All right, so here we go. Persistence, the right side of persistence. In any discussion of attributes of successful people, uh, persistence is pretty much always mentioned. And oftentimes, one of the most important factors or habits, one of the most important factors or habits of being or becoming successful. Everyone is persistent, but how we choose to use it will make the difference. People say, oh, I have a lack of persistence, but a lack of is not the problem, but our objective should be how we use it for us and not against us. Because far often people may think stuff that they don't have, but they actually really possess it. But it's what you do with those things that you have in your possession, they really translate or turn into tools. Just like persistence, it's not the lack of, but it's how you use it for you or against you. So let's go through the definition of persistence. And in the definition itself, that's when I learned that there are two sides of persistence. So we see the definition right now. It says firm or obstinate continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulties or opposition. Firm or obstinate abstinent, continuous in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. So that's when I began to look at it, in contrast and learn. That's when I learned the other side. So, in contrast, we're talking about the continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulty. That's being persistent. Continuance on staying on course, regardless of the difficulties. But I want you to pay attention to a word that's right there, which is abstinent. That that is when you begin to learn that there's two sides of persistence. Again, I'm gonna read the definition and then I'm gonna show you the other side of persistence. A firm abstinent continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulties or opposition. In contrast, red over white, continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulty. Now, this is the other side of persistence because remember, abstinent is in the definition of persistence, a firm or abstinent continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulties or opposition. But now this is the other side, the abstinent side, stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or chosen course of action despite attempts to pursue one to do so. How many of y'all know these people? That's the other side of persistence. You can be so persistent and stubborn at the same time. That means you're not using persistence in your favor. You're using persistence as a detriment to the future you. You're using persistence as a detriment to the blessings that you can possibly have. You're using persistence to the detriment of the harvest. There is harvest when you are stubborn in your persistence. It's like saying I'm a farmer. I want crops. So in order for me to have a harvest, I know that there is a system of consistency that must take place in order for harvest to come. So if it is that I have to be persistent, I have to be persistent in it that the ground is capable and prepared for me to plant these seeds. I must be persistent in what it is that I need to do to ensure that the harvest becomes bountiful. But I can be so stubborn that I don't feel like doing it. I can be so stubborn that I won't attempt to do this anymore. That's the opposite side of persistence. So what side of persistence have you been on? Now, that's your choice. Persistence is a choice that you choose to make. You can't blame that on nobody else. You can't keep blaming that on mama. You can't blame it on dad. You can't blame it on your family history. You can't blame it on, oh, this is just how we do it. No, that's how you do it. That's your side of persistence. That's you. You can't blame it on anybody else because your abstinent, stubborn way of refusing to change your course prevented you from reaching your destination because you was on the abstinent side of persistence. Because remember, that is in the definition of persistence. Firm or abstinent continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulties or opposition. But you want to be so stubborn that it won't get you to the point to where you're striving to get to because you want to be on the other side of persistence. Now, we're going to be talking about now is how do you develop habits of becoming persistent? Because becoming persistent or being persistent or persist is a habit. You have to develop that habit. You have to groom that habit because without you grooming that habit, that's when you become abstinent. That's when you become so stubborn and stuck in your way, using your persistence to get you to your destiny because you have been so stubborn that you don't even want to see it. So let's go with developing this because persistence could become relatively easy when you begin to work on it and understanding that it is progress. It's relatively easy to persist when things are going your way, because when you also become highly persistent, that allows you to find your way to keep going despite of major setbacks, despite of the lack of evidence that you're moving closer to your goal, that you're going to continue to do it over and over again, developing that habit. Why? Because it is doing it over and over again. It's developing that muscle memory, just like we spoke about yesterday when it talks about 80% of it is the psychology, is the psychology of it, but 20% is the mechanics. So the development of your persistence is 80%. I'm still going to use the formula again. The development of persistence is still 80% psychology and 20% mechanics. Because when you are looking at it, because even if you feel that you're not getting closer, you have to still celebrate your small victories. You have to develop habits of celebrating your small victories, celebrating the things that you learn, celebrating the things that you have denied yourself from doing, because you understand that it's going to take discipline to get you there. So now let's go ahead and begin to go into what are the 4 habits that I want you to begin to develop to becoming more persistent. And the first one is an all-consuming vision. I mean, we can talk about, my people die for the lack of vision and stuff like that. But you have to have an all-consuming vision. That vision has to consume you. Your vision will wake you up, but your persistence will get your tail out of the bed. It will get you to the point to where I am up for a reason. Now let me get up and do what I'm supposed to do. An all-consuming vision. Because persistent people have visions and goals in mind that motivates them and drives them. They're often dreamers and visionaries who see their lives as having a higher purpose, and not just simply earning a living, but they understand that there is a higher purpose to their why. There is a higher purpose to the gifts that they're tapping into. And you understand it more because your vision become deeply ingrained and you are focused in that consistent way of development of that habit, and a consistent way in the consuming or in the consumption of your vision, because it is deeply ingrained and you're focused and you're consistent in those great emotions and energy. You often think of your vision the first thing in the morning and it wakes you up, but your persistency will get you up. There's a difference. We all know the difference. We're all grown. Waking up and getting up is 2 different things. Waking up and hitting the snooze and getting up after the alarm goes off is 2 different things. Stop saying, oh, I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day. Okay, but do you actually get up? You wake up at 3, but you might get up at 6. Your vision will consume you enough to get you out of the bed. Because when you're reaching that goal, it allows you to understand what that focal point is. And that focal point in your life will begin the process of devoting the major portions of your energy towards the thing that you are reaching out for. It will consume how you think. It will consume what you do. It will consume how you respond to people. It will consume how you respond to the pain. It will consume how you react to those things. It will consume how you hit that wall. What do you mean it will consume how you hit the wall? It will let you know whether you're going to hit that wall again. Like, you know what? I need to be a little bit more persistent in my efforts, because I don't want to hit that wall again. So I am persistent in ensuring that I learn this lesson so I don't have to learn the lesson twice, right? That's crazy. I mean, we've all done it. We've learned lessons twice. And then the next habit I want you to begin to develop is that inner confidence. That inner confidence that what do you say to you when there's no one else around you? How do you get you going in the morning? That's that confidence that I am going to live my life and I am going to live it with purpose and I am going to be purposeful in the life that I live and I am going to persevere past this pain that I'm feeling right now. I acknowledge the pain because I am human enough to feel, but I am also resilient enough to understand what I don't want to feel like anymore. So I am getting up and I'm doing the things that I know that I am destined to do. And that inner confidence is going to be that inner conversation that you're going to have with yourself. Because people who overcome the odds and achieve greatly are often described as people that say, they march to the beat of their own drum. But you got to know and understand is that seldom is the way. What do you mean seldom is the way? Just like people say, I'm going to go the extra mile. Seldom is the way of the people that actually go the extra mile. Inner confidence is going to boost you to go that extra mile. Trust me, I was inside an office, I think, a week, and there was a young lady, and she had this sign on her wall, and it said that the extra mile. No, it said that it's not crowded at the extra mile because it's seldomly traveled by those who actually seek to go that extra mile. The masses won't be down there. Trust and believe. The masses will not be down there at the extra mile because there's going to be so many people who fell short. There's going to be so many people who fell off. There's going to be so people who fell in to the pain instead of allowing the pain to teach them, or like, old folks say, learn you something. That inner confidence, because when you have highly developed inner confidence, it would allow you to even pursue high level persistence to push you without being greatly affected by what others think of you, or if others even understand you, or if others even appreciate you. It's about them. It's about you. It's about what you say to the inner you that is going to build and boost your confidence to become and to develop a level of persistency that allow you to become resilient. Inner confidence is inner resiliency that allows you to be bigger, better, and greater, even in the eye or even in the midst of adversity. And the next thing that I want you to begin to develop is a habit of having the ability to adjust and adapt, which some of us call course correct. The third habit is ability to adjust and to adapt, because persistent people with the ability to adjust and adapt their action plans, they're not stubborn. Because remember, we talked about the opposite side of persistence, which is abstinent, which is the stubborn. You refuse to course correct. You refuse to adjust. You refuse to actually identify that adjustments need to be made because you're so stubborn and you're persistent in being stubborn. That is a choice, though, because you don't have to be stubborn and persistent in the face of evidence, because it is evident that something needs to change. So develop the ability to adjust and adapt. Even when the evidence is in front of your face, it's not working. You look for a better way to increase your chance of success. And developing this habit will allow you to untie yourself to your big-headed ego and to become more willing to admit when something is not working. Now, again, this is a development. This is a development of a habit. So therefore, it is a process that has to be repeated over and over again until you develop a system to say, you know what? How many times do I need to hit this wall before I begin to adjust and adapt and to maneuver differently? But I must acknowledge that there is an obstacle there. I must acknowledge that there is a feeling that I get when I see this thing. So I know that I don't want to feel this way no more. So I am going to be persistent in building my confidence. I am going to be persistent in ensuring that I work this goal, because this goal has a much larger accomplishment than just me. And the last thing is real simple, really, really simple. It's so simple that you get it. Not that you didn't get the other one, but you get this. I mean, folks that are lifelong learners like I am, they feel this one. Commit your commitment to lifelong learning. Because when you come to this to the self-actualization that any goal worth reaching will take time, effort, and continuous learning. You will learn new skills, new systems, new processes, and you'll even begin to learn that there are new thinking patterns that you can begin to build. And there's one thing that I want you to remember, and I want you to take with you too, is so I begin to dissect the word persistence again. Persistence is going to take peace. These are P words. Persistence is going to take peace. Persistence is going to take passion. Persistence is going to take purpose. Persistence is going to take power. You're going to have the power, or to develop the power to do it over and over again. You're going to have that inner peace, that inner confidence. You're going to have that inner peace within inside of you to tell you to be telling you, because it's going to be over and over again. So I would use the word telling, because you may have to tell yourself more than once, to be telling you that I'm doing this for a reason. This is my why. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it, because this is bigger than me. It's not just me, but this is bigger than me, because there are people that's going to come after me. So if I get it now, there's going to be someone that I'm going to teach that is going to be my replacement. So even after, if I teach you peace, or if I am taught peace, I have the ability to be the example of peace, because I know what it feels like to be in turmoil. So it's going to take peace and be persistent at it. And your passion, that's self-explanatory, because my purpose has to have passion in order for me to work towards that goal that I have burning inside of me. That's that burning desire. That's what persistence is. Persistence is burning desire. That's that thing that's inside of you that hits you like nothing else. That hits you so strong that it feels like a heartburn. It just touched so deep that only you can put out. That's persistence. The inner fire that only you can put out. Nobody else should be able to put your persistence out. But you have to understand what side of persistence you're on. Because we as people don't always lack persistence, but we may lack what side of persistence are we on. Are we on the abstinent side, abstain side? Are you stubborn? Or are you on the side of persistence that I am going to stare this thing in the face, and I am going to tell this thing that I am moving forward. I don't care what opposition that I'm facing. I don't care what wall that I hit. I don't care what hole I fell into, because the hole I fell into is an obstacle that the person that's coming behind fall into, because I will foresee anybody that comes after me, because that is a lesson that I learned. But I am going to take my inner confidence to tell other people, to ensure that we all learn this lesson, so you don't have to learn the same lesson that I learned, and being persistent at teaching it. All right, that's enough. All right, man. Just be blessed. Just be blessed. Be confident and be consistent. And I'll see you guys in the morning, 7:30, right here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Y'all be blessed. Peace.